Dr. Jeff Galini here with Mr. Brad Hollibaugh. Brad, how you doing today?
I'm doing great, Jeff. How are you?
Yeah, well, thanks for everyone for coming, and for those of you watching via camera, we're glad that you also can make it. We're here at Yellowstone Fitness today. Yellowstone Fitness is in Billings, and they are one of the title sponsors for our upcoming show.
Yeah, what a great gym. I'm kind of frothing at the mouth out there walking through the gym. I can't wait to train, so I'm looking forward to it.
It is pretty nice.
Yeah, very nice gym.
So April 6th is the IFBB Physique, Northwestern USA. We're really excited. It's the first show that has been in Billings since the last one I put on, which was way back in the early 90s, like 93 or something. So we're really excited about that. Brad's going to maybe tell you just a little bit about the classes and stuff that we'll have.
Well, yeah, it's going to be a fantastic show. We've got pretty much the normal classes that most of the NPC shows and stuff and surrounding shows have. Physique, figure, men's bodybuilding, men's classic bodybuilding, classic bodybuilding, the bikini classes, of course. We're also going to have a model, a men and women's model class, which could be interesting for some of you people wanting to take part in. That could have some interesting opportunities and stuff and so forth. We'll be talking more about that at a later date. But yeah, we're looking forward to having some fantastic competitors. I think we even got one person coming in from Florida.
Yeah, we're getting quite a bit. You know, we call it the Northwestern USA, but it's really open to anyone in the country. So it's going to be a good show. So mark your calendar, April 6th, for you guys on camera. April 6th, going to be here in Billings, Montana at the Lincoln Center. We'll be having tickets available relatively soon, and looking forward to seeing everybody there. With that said.
Absolutely.
So this is a seminar on health and fitness. One of the things that I think we both agree on is, you know, there is no cookie cutter diet or meal plan. You know, you really got to find the you plan, you know, what works for you. But there are some basic principles, because the human body has not changed in the last, 500 years. So if you think about your car, you know, things that you notice, knocks and bumps and engine light and time for oil, your body is the same way. The trick is listening to your body. So the first thing that I always say, you know, with coming up with a meal plan or training plan is to determine what is your goal, you know, and you need to be realistic about your goal. For example, you know, if you want to lose weight and you say, I want to lose 50 pounds, but I got to do it in 2 weeks, I always say, how long did it take you to gain that 50 pounds? Was it 2 years, 3 years, 5 years? Normally it takes us some time if we're needing to lose weight to get to where we are. So again, it's better to do it slow so that eventually when you reach your goal, you're going to be able to maintain it, because anybody can lose weight relatively quickly. Just don't eat, quit drinking, go sit in the sauna, and you can lose weight. You know, we want to talk about body fat. And the same thing if your goal is to put on lean muscle. You know, it takes time. Anybody can gain weight. You go to McDonald's 3, 4, 5 times a day for a month, you'll gain weight. But again, you put on body fat. You know, the whole thing about, we call it bodybuilding, but it's really fitness, physique building, you know, is not how I can look for the summer, but it's living longer. You know, it's being healthier, living a healthier lifestyle.
Yes. So
it really comes down to, you know, eating, training, and then I throw in supplements, because I think supplements are very, very important. But it starts with eating. So I'm going to give you a little bit of my principles, and then Brad will kind of talk about his principles. You know, again, everybody has a different philosophy, but at the end of the day, you know, you got to kind of tweak and try different things to see what works for you. I'm a firm believer that you can put on lean muscle and decrease body fat at the same time. A lot of times people say, well, you can't build muscle until you lose all the fat. Well, what are you going to do? How are you going to do that? You know, you're going to be training, and if you're training, you're going to be putting on lean muscle. A lot of times muscle is soft if you aren't working it. So if you're trying to, again, just be lean or put on any type of muscle, you've got to work that muscle. You've got to get in, you've got to train, you've got to exercise. Now, you don't have to do it 5, 6, 7 times a week. You know, you can do 3 times a week. You can do 5 times a week. It's about fitting into your schedule dependent upon your goal. So training 5 times a week isn't necessarily better than training 3 or 2 times a week. It's the consistency. So a couple things about my principles. I'm all for eating healthier. Protein. You got to take in protein. Protein is the building blocks of muscle. Now, everybody can debate on how much protein, but again, in order to give some starting point, I will say 1.5 grams for every pound that you want to be at. So now you got to do a little bit of math. You got to figure, okay, I'm at 150, I want to be at 200. I've got to eat a little bit more protein. I'm at 200, I want to be at 150. I got to eat a little less protein. But the sources are the key. Turkey, fish, chicken, eggs. And it's how you prepare those. You can take a nice piece of fish and do a McDonald's number on it, and you now take a high quality protein and you turn it into a fat bomb without much protein left. So it's better to cook those foods, broiled, grilled, barbecued, not a lot of oils and breadings and things, because again, you're now adding things that are going to slow down the absorption. So protein number 1. Number 2, I like carbohydrates. That's my philosophy. But good quality carbohydrates. Carbohydrates are what your body burns for fuel. Potatoes, rice, pasta, whole grain beds. But again, if you like white bread, you don't have to get all that crazy, and get all granola where, it only has to be organic. Again, there's nothing wrong with that, but it is a little more expensive, so again, you don't necessarily have to go that way. I like to moderate the fats, keeping the fats at a minimum, getting fats maybe from your red meats, getting some fats from if you incorporate some nuts and stuff. I like to say minimize, not cut out, like butters. If you're going to use oil, use things like olive oil, which contain the good fats. Certain fats will raise your bad cholesterol, and there are other fats that actually help with the good cholesterol. So you want to be able to utilize fats that help the good cholesterol. And then what I like to do is have 1 day a week that is the cheat day. So again, it's very difficult for some people to say, I can't stop eating chocolate, I can't stop eating ice cream. But if you have 1 day a week that you can eat whatever you want, then it's pretty easy to stay on a healthy eating plan, because when you get to that 1 day, do whatever you want. Number 1, it shocks your metabolism. Your body goes, oh my, I've got to kick into overdrive. I've got to do something to metabolize all these calories, so it actually jacks your metabolism up. The next day you go back on your healthy eating plan, and your body says, all right, I can wait another 6 days because I know in 7 days I can eat whatever I want. What happens after a couple weeks is a whole cheat day turns into a half a day to a meal to sometimes nothing more than a frozen yogurt, because you don't feel good, after eating all of that junk and all of that sugar. And the same thing goes, if your goal is for putting on lean muscle, you can still do the same thing, you just eat a little bit more. So again, you're going to eat a little bit more protein because you have a goal to gain a little bit more weight. You might incorporate some more carbohydrates. You'll have to see what works best for you. But that's kind of bread in a nutshell, my up and down way.
What you said mirrors a lot of my philosophy for a lot of years and stuff as well. One thing I was talking about just briefly before we started talking this seminar, people talking about wanting to gain weight. I want to gain 20 or 30 pounds. I come from a huge competitive background like Jeff. I was like, never use a scale as a determination of your success. A scale is a weight. It doesn't tell you if you're gaining muscle. It doesn't tell you if you gain fat. So basically, in a nutshell, don't use a scale as a tool of success. You can use it as one tool whether you're gaining or losing weight, but use the mirror. The bottom line is, bodybuilding, to get to a good level of physique takes many years, and to have a healthy lifestyle, it's like anything else. You have to adapt that. Getting rid of the junk food on your diet is one of the most important aspects of getting in shape and stuff. A lot of bodybuilders, for example, it's bulking. There's really no such thing as bulking, okay? If you're a bodybuilder year-round. You shouldn't, I don't believe in getting much over 10% body fat if you're a male bodybuilder. maybe 14 to 15, 16% in the female if you plan on being a competitive bodybuilder, for example. And, in a nutshell and stuff, touching on what Jeff is talking about, about people trying to lose body fat before they start gaining muscle. Muscle cannot turn to fat. Fat cannot turn to muscle. It's physiologically impossible for that to happen. So a lot of people and things, it's a bad philosophy thinking that you can, I'm going to bulk and then because I'm bulked up, I'm going to be able to come down and have more muscle. What happens when you bulk up? It slows your metabolism down. So basically, you're unable to eat as much quality protein as you need to eat in order to achieve that goal. Like, I was in an extreme, situation as a competitor. I was eating 400 to 600 grams of protein a day. Okay, I'm not advocating that to anybody, but I was a large guy. I was averaging 300, 305 pounds. So that was kind of normal for me. I was eating, 4 to 6 pounds of meat a day, which gets very expensive. But, the bottom line is you got to tailor make that to whatever body size you are. And I think Jeff is correct. I agree with about 1.5 grams of per pound of body weight, or the body weight you want to project to be. But don't, I really have a hard time when people say, yeah, I want to gain 20 or 30 pounds this year and get up to so-and-so weight, and that's going to make me achieve my goal and be a better bodybuilder. The bottom line is the mirror is your gauge. Coming from a competitive aspect, when you're standing on stage, they don't care what you weigh, they care what you look like. So throw that scale out the window in that regard. You could use it as a small tool, but don't use the scale as a, I've gained 15 pounds, so that means I'm a much better bodybuilder. Well, bottom line, you could be a worse bodybuilder, or a worse competitor, or a worse bikini competitor. Use the mirror, and use a friend that's got objective eye and so forth. And to kind of, I could go on and on forever, but to touch on this, bodybuilding should be about health, okay? To do it correctly, it's eating right, it's exercise, and one more thing that's really, really important that, people forget about is your rest. If you don't rest, you don't recuperate, you don't regenerate, you're spinning your wheels and stuff. So rest and recuperation is very important as well. Okay, thank you.
And the second thing, is really training. You can have the best training in the world, but if you aren't fueling your body properly, again, you aren't going to grow. But that's the same goes for our daily lives. If you get tired, drinking caffeine, okay, there's nothing wrong with that, but there are better ways to fuel. So again, by eating properly, you're fueling yourself throughout the day. Training is the next thing that's very, very important. As I kind of started out with, you got to decide what your goals are depending on what type of training program to put together. I don't think there's any wrong training program. There's thousands of ways to do different exercises. There's no right, there's no wrong. The only suggestion is make sure that you do work the whole body.
So it's optimal.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because you'll see a lot of guys and gals, especially guys, that will just work their upper body. What happens is they end up getting back issues, hamstring issues, calf issues. Because again, when you strengthen some muscles and you don't strengthen those other muscles, something's going to give. And it usually isn't in the gym. It's usually something like rolling out of bed, getting out of the shower. And if you get a hernia or you pull a hamstring,
it sucks.
Yeah, it's really difficult to set you back. So again, however you break it up, whether it's 2 days a week, 3 days a week, 5 days a week, the biggest thing is to make sure that you have at least 1 to 2 days rest in between workouts for that body part. So for instance, if you were on a 3-day program, like you were saying, Kyle, that you were on, I would do something like the first day, I would do either chest and back, or I would do all pushing movements, chest, shoulders, and triceps. The second day workout, I would do back, all pulling movements, so back and biceps. And then the third day, I would do legs. Now, you could switch the first 2 days around. You could do chest and back on one day. You could do shoulders and arms on another workout day. But again, the key would be maybe Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So you have a day of rest before the next workout, but you literally have 7 days before you hit that next part. Now, if you want to go to a 5-day or 6-day-a-week program, all you do is you scrunch that down where you do 3 days in a row, you then take a day off, and then you start over again. But you still have 4 days of rest, as Brad said, in between that body part.
Would you suggest, my suggestion would be is if you're going to train each body part twice a week, is probably do less volume and not quite so much volume in one workout. So bottom line is you got to listen to your body. It's the old Joe Weider principle and so on. You got to, but you really do. The thing is that as you get older, which I'll be, I think, 25 next year, as you get older and stuff, your body changes as well, and you don't recuperate as quickly. So you have to learn to make sure you're eating right, getting your rest, and training right. But if you feel you don't like you're not recuperating, you might. As long as you're not copping out of the gym just because you're tired. But if your body is really, like your joints are sore, you're achy, you're very lethargic, you might need, as long as you're getting the proper amount of sleep, you might need another day of rest in between. You got to listen to your body.
And there's nothing wrong with it. A lot of times people will say that I'm not making any progress. I've reached a plateau, whether it's weight gain, weight loss, or just getting in shape. And I'll say, when was the last time you took a week off? Never. Take a week off. Your body needs rest.
But eat good.
Your mind. Yeah, you don't not eat. You're just taking a rest from the gym. Yeah. The third area, which I learned as a young athlete, is supplementations. Because again, when we're taking our bodies into the gym and we are taking it above and beyond, think of these high-performance race cars, these dragsters. They wouldn't pull up to the town pump and just put in some unleaded gasoline.
And they're on high octane.
They are on high octane because, again, they got to get more out of that car. Our body's the same way, but keep in mind, they're called supplements, so they are supplements to food. They aren't replacements or to food. But you got to be careful because, again, you could spend a lot of money, you can get real crazy. So again, supplements are important. Obviously, I'm always repping EFX because that's what we make. But that's a seminar for a whole nother day. I just wanted to kind of bring that in, that those are sort of the 3 parts. And if you put that pie together, down the middle, I really almost have the eating part as about half. Most people will say, no, training is more important. No. Eating is more important. Training then would be on the other side of the pie, maybe of that 50%, 80% is training, and then 20%, is your supplements. They're just going to help you recuperate, recover, help you with your strength. If you're an older male, they're going to help you with boosting, testosterone levels and such. If you need a little kick in with weight loss, they're going to help you with metabolizing fats and such. So again, well-rounded. But what happens now, whether we're young or old, our goal is to live longer, be healthier, be around for your kids, your family, your grandkids.
Absolutely.
And, that's one of the good things about training. The majority of ailments these days are stress-related. Stress is the cause of so much, from heart disease. You wouldn't think diabetes, but diabetes, high blood pressure. Stress is bad. Exercise relieves stress.
Yeah.
I had a question that came in not too long ago, and the guy said, I'm really at a stressful point in my life. I'm having family issues. I'm not necessarily having health issues. I'm having financial issues. I'm thinking about quitting training until I get my life in order. And the first thing I said was, dude, no. Get your training in order. Keep your stress down.
Have you guys ever noticed after you work out, if you have a real stressful day, after you're working out, those problems don't seem to be quite so big. They diminish. Yeah. Training and working out hard actually is one of the best ways to overcome stress. And you make better decisions. You're a better person. You're happier. You're more better father, better worker, and you play better. You enjoy life more. Yeah.
So that in a nutshell is kind of the 3 parts that I think, we both kind of agree on. I think most health experts do agree on. So thanks for...
One more thing to add.
We got
one more thing. Remember, in this sport, in this game, whether you're competing or just competing against yourself, it is just competing against you. the bottom line is, you want to be the best you could be. I can't be you, you can't be me. It's physiologically impossible. So be the best you. And not only as a physique, as a whole, mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually. Okay? God bless.